Welcome to the Professional Women's Wellness Podcast, where ambitious women discover the path to total well-being. I'm your host, Dr. Peggy Gleason, and I'm the creator of the Stop Emotional Eating School, a transformational program designed to help you conquer your emotional eating, gain confidence, and make peace not only with your food, but with your body and yourself. Here we're all about inspiration, education, and motivation to help you thrive in every aspect of your life. And today I am super excited to introduce a very special guest, Cooper Harrison. I read a lot about this gentleman, and it is so exciting to have him here today for all of us. Cooper is a versatile creative force, an accomplished author, meditation advocate, and a musician. Yay! So Cooper's life has been a testament to unwavering resilience and a steadfast commitment to personal growth. He serves as a life coach, guiding individuals in their path to personal transformation. His expertise in meditation and mindfulness, cultivated through personal experiences and dedicated research from they form the cornerstone of his coaching philosophy. He empowers people to embrace their inner potential, fostering self-discovery, inner peace, and personal growth. And we're going to learn a little bit about Cooper's written work, Grand Rising Universe. Oh my goodness, you're going to love hearing about that. So we are going to welcome Cooper. Welcome. And I'm so glad that you're here with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, Doctor. And man, that was probably the best intro I think I could have heard. I don't think I could have done it any better myself. And I appreciate your kind words and appreciate that kind of thorough explanation of what I do, because it does encompass a lot of different, aspects of healing. I think the centerpiece of what I do, though, is just all about healing. But healing can come in so many different ways, so many different modalities. I don't think there's ever one way to heal yourself or to contribute to your healing journey. It's all just a process, and you just find different modalities. I've seen and encountered many different modalities on my healing journey. So it's a fun experience.
Yes, I see it. And, I would love everyone to know your story, from childhood illness to athlete, coach, author, musician, and I might add a lot of art in there as well. And I want to ask you how these life chapters influenced your spiritual and creative voice.
Yeah. I guess I'll begin in childhood. I just lived, a regular life at first. I went to grade school, growing up, played sports, just kind of did what, most kids did. But I got diagnosed with leukemia when I was 7, and I went through chemotherapy for 2.5 years. Been in remission ever since, thankfully. But that was, one stop that I had in my childhood, and being able to kind of reprogram that situation in my life from being a victim to being a victor as an adult, I think is probably the most pivotal moment that I've experienced thus far in terms of enlightenment. But then after going through cancer, I went through a little bit of childhood bullying and just being isolated as a kid who was going through, the growing changes of middle school in terms of, puberty and adolescence. And going through that isolated was difficult, going through depression and not having, positive thoughts about myself. A lot of insecurities, and it affected my sports life, and it affected just all aspects of my life. And then getting into high school, finding myself through sports, through football, through lacrosse, eventually through track. And I actually didn't really fit into a lot of groups in high school either, which, is okay. I went to a Catholic school. And I found a good friend group in campus ministry, and a lot of those guys were just really great connections, and helped me bring more spiritual enlightenment into my life. And I didn't even realize it till I graduated from college, which that was a whole nother chapter of my life too. But being able to play college football as, a young adult, coming from insecurity and, not having positive thoughts about my own image and self concept, and then going to college and playing a sport and getting offered a scholarship and having my school paid for, because I did believe in myself, and I took a leap of faith on myself, and playing a pretty dangerous sport. So, and then going to college and getting involved in a lot of different things between sports, and then I was in a fraternity as well, and then I was also in residential life. Came out with my first publication, Virtues and Vices, which is a more poetic compilation of kind of my younger years, and publishing that in college as well. And then also, receiving a couple of different, awards for humanitarian work with cancer organizations as well, doing a lot of charity work and fundraising at that time. And then getting out of college, having that kind of identity crisis for a little bit, and having issues with drinking, and chronic weed smoking as well was definitely a thing, because I just didn't have a self concept, because I was done being an athlete, and being an athlete was probably over 10 years of my life. So I lost my sense of self. And
Yeah.
getting to meditation, though, brought me back and was bringing up the traumatic experiences in my life that I never subconsciously worked through. I did go to therapy as a kid and as a young adult, but I never worked through the trauma. I always just avoided it. And meditating brought a lot of feelings up, and having those feelings come up was the ability for me to actually process the emotions as a man, which processing emotions as a man is not talked about enough in our society. And if we did talk about it more and we felt through it more, we would be able to accomplish so much together in terms of men and women working together. That's just my opinion. However, me working through my own traumas brought a sense of peace, and I didn't seek out the chaos anymore through life. And I actually dated a woman who was into bodybuilding, and then eventually turned into kind of a holistic practitioner. But she was taking Anavar, which is a kind of like steroid for more geared towards women competitors. And she became physically, violent towards me. And, I broke that relationship off. Not initially, but, finding out and standing up for myself, through the other issues. I isolated myself for about a year after that breakup, and I just worked through every single traumatic experience, and just learning about how strong I am and how strong I can be for others. It helped me eliminate seeking out victim mentality situations, and not repeating chaotic cycles anymore, and allowing myself to feel through that pain. Yeah, I had cancer. Yeah, I was bullied. Yeah, I was, in a domestic abusive relationship, but that's not my identity anymore. And I just cried it out, felt through it for a really long time. It took me a year to just process that on a day by day basis. And, then I found the beauty of myself, though, and I found the beauty of my relationship with the universe, and then the relationship with nature, and then being able to write all those experiences out for 111 days was how Grand Rising Universe came about. And that is literally what Grand Rising Universe is. It is me talking to the universe for 111 days straight. It is me documenting that healing journey, which it did take longer than 111 days, but from the experience of actually comprehending that spiritual journey is what birthed that book?
I, you just covered 5 different questions I was going to ask you, so yay for you.
Thank you. I
Because
appreciate it.
I was thinking about the book because I was so intrigued by the breakdown of the different areas, and just looking at like your different mediums that I was also touched using
Yeah.
the writing, as you mentioned, painting, music, and I want to know
Mhm.
more of the music because I know you're a musician, correct?
Yeah, I'm getting into that space, and what I mean is I am working on, because I've written poetry, so I've been able to write lyrics, but the way I want to do music is I want to do a healing musical endeavor. So it's trying to find theta waves and alpha waves and being able to work with
Mm,
producers to create these sort of beats, these binaural beats, and create positive affirmations. So you're being healed while listening to music at the same time. And you can listen to it when you wake up, go to sleep. Maybe if you're working out and you want to regulate that nervous system while you're working out, you can do that too. And
oh,
that's the beauty of music, is you can kind of make it whatever you want, because actually the more niche you make your music and the more unique you make your music, people will listen to that, and people will just really connect with you on a deeper level. So I haven't come out with anything on like Spotify yet, or like Apple Music yet, or SoundCloud, but it's in the works. I've been working on it for a while. I just want to make sure it's right. And the art piece is also something I started, here and there. And the reason why I do so many artistic endeavors is because it creates new neural pathways in your mind. And I am big on mental clarity. And the only way to create an open consciousness is you have to do things you're not comfortable with. And doing art was something I was never comfortable with in high school, grade school,
mhm.
because like people just told me I wasn't going to be good at it. So I just like taught myself. And I've created healing symbols. That's kind of like my niche, art piece, is I create healing symbols in different cultures, and I
Wow.
paint them or sketch them. And, I'm a big nature scene type of person as well. And then with music, it's more just me trying to create new neural connections for others, because that's what I've been able to do with myself. And becoming more open-minded is a beautiful gift because it creates more empathy. And when you have more empathy, you become more relatable, and people will seek you out because they see how calming of a presence you are. And that is the key to becoming a more masculine individual, actually. Because in order to become a more masculine man, you have to be more in tune with your feminine side. And you have to be able to connect with your softer side. And, I think women have done such a great job lately of connecting to their masculine side, which has made them more powerful. And now it's like men need to be able to connect with their softer side better. So I have been doing that through more artistic endeavors, less logical endeavors.
That is fascinating. Oh my goodness. I could think of a few men I'd like to send you.
Feel free, bring it on. I love a good
Now,
challenge.
in your practice, do
hmm
you find that more female or males seek you out? I mean, what's that like?
Yeah, great question. In terms of, I'll say this in two ways. I think in terms of collaboration, more women seek me out, just because I think women are, like I said, a lot stronger, and they can handle working with a man now, which I think is
Mhm.
great. And I think it's like, hey, I'm a woman, but I'm not afraid to work with you because you're a man. And I think that's awesome. And honestly, it's a good dynamic that I've been able to collaborate with women, because like with women specifically, we can have back and forth, and women
Mhm.
can challenge my way of thinking and I can challenge theirs, and it doesn't become this personal vendetta against each other. Like we're able to have those mature conversations. And another thing too is with the clientele base, more women are open to my type of work than men are. So from a customer perspective, I would say women seek me out more. But there are a certain demographic of men that are able to be more open-minded to what I'm doing as well. So it really just kind of depends on the day. But for the most part, I'd say women are probably my target audience.
And I would say, I think fortunately more men are realizing the
Yeah.
value of breaking down that, the barrier of the profile of a man has to be strong and, don't cry in front of people, that type of thing. And,
Right.
I'm loving the fact that more people like you are coming forward to say, hey, you can still be a great man.
Yeah.
And go ahead and cry. It's okay. It's not going to diminish your masculinity. And I think that's what I see in a lot of men. They'll just, suck it up.
Yeah, I think from a sense of men working with me, it's older men as well. Like I would say it's men in
Oh,
their
it's
I'd say
great.
it's men in their 40s and 50s. And it's usually the men that are like divorced or, they've had
Mm,
traumatic experiences and they just like never sat through it, and then they had a divorce or something with a partner. Usually is
yeah.
who seek me out specifically. It's not really men
Mhm.
because I'm 28 years old. It's not really younger men. I don't think younger men are open to being receptive. I think younger men think they have it all figured out, and that's part of like
That's true.
it's the yeah, more younger men are tapped into their ego, where older men that have had traumatic experiences, they're more open-minded. Because I'm actually working on a collaborative project with a guy who has gone through a lot, and he's on the older side, and he really appreciates what I'm doing. And
Oh,
the thing
yeah.
is, with people that want to work with me, they're curious, but they're just like, I don't know, it just doesn't. It seems a little too woo woo. But then I do a session with them, and I'll give like a trial run. Most of my sessions are like 30 to 60 minutes, but I'll do a trial run for like 15. And people that do those trial runs are like, oh wow, because like I
Yeah.
regulate their nervous system in less than 30 minutes. And you can do that on a daily basis if you really want to. You just have to do it. And that's like my thing, because my nervous system's been sensitive since cancer, because I was taking chemotherapy
Sure.
to the spine. So,
Oh, gosh.
regulating my nervous system is so key to my long-term health. So being able to do that through the meditative sessions and showing people how to do that, that's where they're like, oh, I got to work with this guy more, because he definitely knows
Yes.
something. So older men are definitely more open because they've gone through a lot more than the younger men have. I've just been able to kind of go through experiences since I was like 7. So I have a lot of life experience for being as young as I am. So I'm more open-minded to a lot of different practices.
You're just an old soul.
That I am. I get told that a lot. Yeah,
Oh, yes,
yeah,
yes.
just gone
That's
through a
a
lot
that's a compliment in the greatest way. I
for sure.
really a beautiful compliment. Um, when I saw some other topics in it was like almost like 5 pillars of your book, I think, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. Um, and I'm just curious about what was I thinking? Let's see. I know I saw something that I really piqued my interest and would pique everybody else's, but rather than trying to perseverate and try to think, which right now I just like listening, um, with the Grand Rising Universe, I cannot wait to get my hands on that book. When I was looking at it this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just for me. So I
Yeah.
know it's going to be good for men and women, which is wonderful. Um, do you find, and you just covered part of that, is there's no age um, limit, or you know uh, you can work with any age, but do you
Hmm.
work with women? What is the biggest contrast if you are working with a woman versus a man?
Like, what's the biggest like differences between working with them as clients? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, yes, some sort,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. That's a great question because it's similar but different. So, what makes hypnotherapy, because that's what I use as like in my meditation, I use
Oh,
hypnosis,
okay.
which people freak
Mhm.
out about it, but then they go through it and it's like, oh, you're not trying to mind control me.
No,
You're just trying to,
of
like,
course not.
hypnotherapy is not mind control. The stuff you see on cruise ships is mostly fake. And I don't mean to
Oh,
burst
sure.
people's bubbles, but yeah, like most of those people are paid actors in the crowd. They're not actually like real, like
Of course,
people on
of
the
course.
cruise. So, anyway, hypnotherapy is just me relaxing you into a calm state where you're more just open to healing. Cause like the thing about, cause I did, EMDR, therapy,
Oh,
the eye
yes.
rapid movement. That's what you do in REM sleep. Like you have rapid
Hmm.
eye
Yeah.
movement, and that's because your brain waves are going from beta, which is your waking state. That's what we're in right now, talking. I put you in alpha brainwave state, which is the more relaxed state, which is right before you go to sleep. And then depending on the person, I might drop them into theta brainwave state, which is what you're in for REM sleep. So your brainwave activity is very just calm, and it's those like long, smooth waves instead of like beta where it's just constantly up and down. So with that being said, you're more open to healing when you're in those brainwave states. So that's what I do with the hypnotherapy stuff. And so with women and men, they're similar because the imagination you have to put into these sessions with your third eye or your mind's eye, it's the same for both because men like to think logically and women
Hmm.
are more right brained. So the more creative side and the more flowing side, the more feminine side. Men are more the logical, the left brain. Well, the thing is with the logic part being in your brain, I put you into your brain more. So you're visualizing, you know, whatever it is we want to work on together. So you're actually going into the brain, your logical state, to imagine what exactly you need to heal or exactly like what you want in this world as a man. And it actually puts more of a focus and a drive for you. So that is where men are different. Men are more like, I want to go and find what I want in this life. I want to find that fire. I want to find that purpose. Women are more in the feminine where it's just like a flowy, like, state of, okay, I'm just going to let it come to me. And usually women, it's like they want to like feel all the emotions and they want to feel safe. They want to feel, a sense of security. And then what happens is it comes to, they let the moment of the limiting belief be received, and then they feel through that emotionally speaking in their body while visualizing this, and then they let it go. And that's why women are more, in terms of my sessions, women are more susceptible to like maybe cry a little bit or just like release like a heavy tense moment because they're visualizing letting go because they're more in tune to just letting spirit guide them, and that's to let go of these traumatic experiences.
Yeah.
And then pushing forward, being able to visualize and feel the affirmation, because I always replace the limiting belief with a positive affirmation. And I let them visualize how good it feels to have that positive affirmation. And again, they'll have some sort of reactionary moment where it's like maybe tears of joy, or it's like a smile, or it's like the butterflies. So women are more into their feelings with it, which I love that. Men are more just like you don't really get many reactions out of them, but they'll logically just be like, "Oh, this is what I actually want. Like I want to make music, or I want to just like." Do something with my hands, and build things with my hands or do like woodwork or like, stuff like that. Men are just like, all right, here's what I want. How can I get there? And that's what they go through. So, and women are just more free flowing and more just like, let me receive and release this emotional
Yeah.
burden and replace that. So it's, that I would say that's the biggest contrast. And men are more like, I don't want to talk about my feelings. Now, I've worked with guys that, I've kind of been like, because I'm not a therapist by any means, but like as a life coach, I sometimes feel like a therapist in a way. And men don't really talk about, their experiences with me. So we just kind of like, we visualize the experience, let it go, and then we just don't talk about it. Women are more, let's talk about it a little bit. So I usually with men, I'll talk the first like 15 minutes with them, and then we'll do the session. And then it's like we have the last 15 minutes. I'll tell them what micro shifts. So I tell my clients to like do these small shifts. It's like gratitude journal, like every day, and write 3 things you're grateful for every day. And then when we meet again, like, a few weeks later, I'm like, all right, you just wrote down like 60 things you're grateful for in this life. Life's pretty good. So they're more action item oriented. So I don't ever really take 60 minutes with them because they're just like, all right, let's do the session. Give me what I need to do. And I'm gone. Women, they tend to like, we talk a little more, we vent a little more, we feel through things together. And then it's like, all right, here's, the micro shifts, but theirs is more like, I just want to feel, men are like, all right, give me a checklist of things. Women are like, can I just like do something that feels good for myself? And usually women, it's like, all right, let's celebrate, let's celebrate, our victories today. Go do something that reinforces that. Where, yeah, men, it's just like, check the box off, give me things to do. And I'm like, well, let's also celebrate, men, let's celebrate ourselves too. But, it's more like with men, I try to like gradually get their inner child to work with them a little more.
I am sure that takes a little bit more to get.
A little more effort for sure.
Yeah.
Because, men are more, they operate more into logic, and I think that's not always the case.
Logic, rationalization, and to get that woo-woo stuff out of my face.
Yeah, well, the universe is not a logical place. Whether or not you believe it, our 3D realm, you may think it's logical, but the universe doesn't reward logic.
This is true. I could talk to you for a year and probably still have questions. But,
I love that.
Oh, really? It's just, I feel very like-minded in a lot of your philosophy, and it's just a joy. It's a joy to
Thank you.
Speak to a gentleman who really gets it, In your book, and once people read it, what is the one thing you hope they walk away with?
Simply put, I just hope people walk away with a sense of clarity. That's all. I just hope you find that you're never going to know everything in this world, but it's always great that you still search for it. And I talk about that with the ego and the shadow and like what's good and what's bad, what we perceive as good and bad, how it's all just a construct, of us wanting to be right. And what our purpose is meant to be, but our purpose always changes. Like, I'm not going to do this forever. Like, I'm going to be a therapist and, a hypnotherapist and a wellness advocate and an advisor for people, and companies for, maybe I do this for 5 years, maybe I do it for 10 years. And then it's like, oh, maybe I just want to be a writer and, financially I'll be set up for that. And maybe, I'll want to just get into different types of music and just do that for a while. Like, your purpose changes, it's never the same thing for the rest of your life. Your 40 years, like when I'm 70 years old, I probably will not be doing the same thing I'm doing now. I will probably be doing something else that I love. And the world shifts, but But as long as you are aligned with yourself, you're going to find uh, prosperous energy and long-term abundance if you just stay aligned within yourself and just eliminate any distractions society tries to throw your way. Because if you're tapped into your authentic self, you can never go wrong.
So true. So true. Oh my gosh, this is terrific. I want people to find you. And
Yeah.
how can they do that?
CooperHarrison.org is my website. I have Instagram. It's Conscious Coop with an underscore after Coop. I'm also on TikTok, Conscious Coop. I'm also on YouTube with some of my podcast episodes, which my podcast is the Weekly Coop. And I'm going to start doing some other videos on YouTube, which I'm still working with a partner on that. He's going to do like some sound bath, crystal singing bowls, and I'm going to do, some like Reiki type of, energy work through the screen that hopefully you guys can feel. And then my books are all on Amazon, pretty easy to find, and they're on other bookstores and stuff like that. Amazon's just the easiest one to find. And then I'm trying to think what else. I am on Facebook. Coach Coop Conscious Mentorship, I think, is the name of my page. And what else? I think that's it. I think I just hit the.
Oh, that's all. Oh, come on.
I think I hit the whole. I carousel.
I think we're going to get a lot of people looking for you. But all of your links will be in the show notes for sure, because I want to make sure people are able to access your delightfulness, of course, and wisdom,
I appreciate
and
it.
become more in tune with themselves. But thank you so much
Yeah,
for this
thank you.
amazing 30 minutes of wisdom. And I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Doctor. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure. And you talked about epigenetics. So if you want to share a little bit about that.
Genetic is the DNA that you got from mom and dad. And unless you have a specific mutation caused by a virus as you live your life, it's basically stable. The sequence of your DNA, you brought it when you were a baby, and it's going to be with you forever. That is not changing. And when scientists discovered all the sequence in the human DNA back in 2000, remember the Human Genome Project?
Oh, yes. Yes.
People thought, now that we have all the information, we're going to understand everything about disease and how to cure.
What if food wasn't the enemy, but just a messenger? You're not weak or broken. You have just been coping with emotions the only way you knew, through food. Stress eating after work, sugar cravings when exhausted, guilt after giving in again. Well, when you pause, breathe, and tune in, you shift from survival to self-awareness. You eat with intention, not impulse. You feel back in control. Healing starts with one mindful step, and I want to offer you a free access to my exclusive programs inside my school community. A supportive space created specifically for professional women just like you, who are tired of the guilt, confusion, and the all-or-nothing approaches to food and body confidence. And here's what you'll find inside. Courses that help you understand patterns and break free from emotional eating, and finally feel in control without dieting or calorie counting. Live group coaching and office hours to get direct support and personalized feedback from me. You'll also see workshops, challenges, and bonus resources on sleep, stress, mindful eating, metabolism, and more. A private community where women who truly get it. No judgment, just support. If you want to open your eyes to freedom from food, let this be the first step that opens the door. Let's work together and create a lasting peace with food and your body. All you have to do is join my Stop Emotional Eating School group by clicking the link below, where women are ditching guilt and reclaiming food freedom. Make peace with your plate today. Just click on the link, or it's professionalwomanswellness.com. I'll see you at the other side.